A set was leaked with a gorgeous weirwood tree, and everyone decided, this is Winterfell. We are seeing Winterfell in House of the Dragon. And I say, no. Well, we could be seeing Winterfell in House of the Dragon, but I don't think this set with the huge weirwood tree is Winterfell. I think it's somewhere else. So what location in Westeros is this set being used for, and why is it so important? Warning, there are spoilers for House of the Dragon in this video. Nothing you wouldn't know if you know the Dance of the Dragons, but just in case you don't want to know something like, oh, Viserys I comes back as a ghost and has kids with his daughter Rhaenyra, don't watch. Also, my voice is still screwed up, so sorry. So there have been a lot of leaks for filming of House of the Dragon Season 1, and they should be done filming very soon. In fact, they've packed up their non-UK filming locations, so there's not going to be a lot of other leaks. But for this video, I want to talk about the weirwood tree set. If you're unfamiliar or you just forgot, weirwoods are most likely to be seen in God's Woods, wooded areas inside the walls of castles, and most, not all, contain a weirwood. In the God's Woods, faith to the old gods is kept and they are worshipped. The houses that switch to the faith of the Seven still have their God's Woods, and if they had it before weirwood tree, though certainly some burned or destroyed theirs once switching religions. But it's used as an area of solitude instead of worship if they did switch to faith of the Seven. The best example of a God's Wood and a weirwood tree in a God's Wood is at Winterfell. I feel like most people have seen this image a million times.
All these years and I still feel like an outsider when I come here.
You have 5 northern children. You're not an outsider.
I wonder if the old gods agree.
It's your gods with all the rules.
Which is why I think when this set was leaked, we had all these news outlets jumping on, this is Winterfell. In fact, they even labeled it that way on the photo before posting it. But I say, nay. It makes no sense for this to be at Winterfell. I mean, what are they gonna do? Show just the one thing of Lord Stark doing the Pact of Ice and Fire? No. Also adding to all the confusion was the weirwood set was connected to the King's Landing set. So people thought, oh, okay, it's the God's Woods in King's Landing's weirwood, except there's no weirwood tree in the God's Woods in King's Landing. So then are they changing lore, which certainly they've done before and they can do again, but I don't think that's what this is. I don't think this is King's Landing weirwood. And honestly, you can see that they are 2 separate areas when you look at it. I think they just built it like that to save space and money, which, you know, makes sense, I would think. So what castle is this weirwood tree located in? I have some thoughts. First, it could be Casterly Rock. However, their weirwood is inside a cave, and this doesn't look like a weirwood in a cave to me. Of course, again, they could be changing lore, but I doubt it. Now, maybe it could be a Raventree Hall in the Riverlands. Some Blackwoods have been cast for House of the Dragon, along with their enemies, the Brackens. And the hatred between the houses does play a role in the war. So maybe the Blackwoods party in the God's Woods after winning the Riverlands completely for the Blacks. That could happen. However, this tree doesn't look dead and not as big as you would think, so I'm gonna say maybe to this location. Speaking of Riverlands, it could be Riverrun, but the look of the tree and the surroundings doesn't look like it. Harrenhal, though, is a great contender. Talking about the Riverlands, Daemon Targaryen takes Harrenhal early in the war, and it is a base for a lot of events. So some deep scenes in the God's Woods would make sense. Now the God's Eye and the Isle of Faces that have a few weirwoods could be where this is, but I'd expect more than one if that's true. And in season 1, the God's Eye isn't going to be that important. Certainly in later seasons, but not now, especially where they're ending. Next, we could be seeing Highgarden. They have multiple weirwood trees in their God's Woods, and we have had leaks we're going to spend some time in the Reach, which makes sense as the Hightowers are big players in destroying the realm for their own greed. But Highgarden and the Tyrells try to stay out of the war, so spending lots of time there isn't really likely. Storm's End has a weirwood tree, and certainly this could be for scenes in this location. There is a initial fight between first cousins that is pretty dramatic, but that fight is in the air on dragons over Storm's End, and I doubt they'll use the weirwood for that encounter. Just me, maybe you disagree? Now I know I said it wasn't Winterfell, but it could actually be another northern castle, so White Harbor? Because White Harbor is visited early in the war, but it doesn't play that big of a role, so I doubt it. Honestly, I'm gonna go with this is Harrenhal. We are seeing the weirwood tree at Harrenhal. Harrenhal, again, is a big location for this war, and we see a lot of houses that follow the old gods coming to this location. So it kind of makes sense. Daemon Targaryen goes into the God's Woods to have some conversations with houses that are there worshipping the old gods. Now, I know there are also other God's Woods with weirwoods in their castles, but they're not big enough players for it to make sense to build that whole set. So that's why I didn't include them. But maybe I didn't include a castle that just pissed you off. Because you gotta think, if they built a whole new, gorgeous, huge weirwood tree, they did it for an important location that shows up a few times. We saw with the main show they learned their lesson towards the end. Yeah, we need to build more permanent sets for certain things. Now, that being said, if it turns out to be Winterfell, I'll eat someone's hat. It could be, it's just, I doubt it. If you look at the set, it doesn't have indications of Winterfell. But again, you could disagree with me, so like, subscribe, let me know your theories for what this set is used for and what location. I still think it's going to be used for super deep meaning conversations between certain lords. Oh my god, my voice is still so fucked up.